Hello and welcome back to World 360. Trump is ratcheting up the pressure to strike Iran and use military force if Tehran doesn't halt its nuclear program and stop killing protesters. On Thursday, the US president said, "We have a lot of very big, very powerful ships sailing to Iran right now, and it would be great if we didn't have to use them." He has also warned of a massive armada heading to Iran that is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. The US has redirected its aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln from the South China Sea towards the Middle East. This carrier carries weapons like F-35 and F-18 fighter jets. Trump claimed that the naval forces he is sending near Iran are even larger than the ones he sent towards Venezuela before capturing President Maduro. In response, Iran also moved hundreds of fast missile launching and support vessels closer to the carrier group. Seen as a reaction to the carrier's arrival, IRGC Navy is also set to hold live fire drills in the Strait of Hormuz on 1st and 2nd February. On Friday, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi countered Trump's threats and said that Iranian armed forces are prepared to immediately and powerfully respond to any US aggression with their fingers on the trigger. Meanwhile, Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, and Egypt have warned the US that any attack on Iran could trigger a serious security and economic fallout across the region and could even affect the US itself. They've also warned Iran that any retaliation against the US in the Gulf would damage Tehran's ties with other countries. The key demands of the US are that Iran shut down its civilian nuclear program, stop enriching uranium, and hand over its existing stockpiles. Meanwhile, Iran wants the US to lift economic sanctions, saying they have crushed the middle class and worsened the inflation. This development comes as protests that began last month in Tehran's Grand Bazaar over a severe economic crisis, soaring inflation, and collapsing currency have spread into wider anger. This has become the biggest challenge to Iran's regime in 5 decades. Nearly 6,000 people have been killed, including 214 security personnel, 113 minors, and 53 bystanders, according to US based human rights group. And around 42,000 people have been arrested so far. Since January 8 this year, authorities have imposed an internet shutdown all over the country. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has called the protesters rioters and promised a tough crackdown and to show no leniency. Moving on to our next story, China has sent a chilling message to Myanmar's scam networks with 11 executions in one go. In a rare and brutal move, it has executed 11 members of the Ming family. The Ming family is linked to mafia like scam centers in Myanmar. These are the first executions of the Myanmar based scam bosses by China, and more are expected. The trial was held behind closed doors, but more than 160 people, including victims' families, attended the sentencing. The Ming family members were sentenced for crimes like homicide, illegal detention, fraud, and operating gambling dens. The scam centers and gambling dens made over $1.4 billion between 2015 and 2023. The Mings were one of several clans that controlled the towns of Lokeng in Myanmar and made it a hub for casinos and red light districts. So, what started with gambling and prostitution for main income sources later expanded into online fraud. Many of these online scam operations were run by people who were trafficked or kidnapped. The Ming family scam empire fell apart in 2023 when they were detained and handed over to China by the junta military. Beijing has since worked more closely with Southeast Asian countries to shut down these scam centers, sending thousands of people back to China. For instance, in 2025, over 7,600 Chinese nationals suspected of online gambling and telecom fraud were repatriated from Myanmar. And in January, Chinese tycoon Shen Zi was extradited from Cambodia after the US accused him of multi-billion-dollar fraud. Next, we will talk about China and the UK. After years of strain, tensions between London and Beijing seem to be easing now with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's visit to China. On Thursday, Starmer met President Xi Jinping, and both leaders pledged to work towards a long term and strategic partnership. On his 4 day trip, Starmer was accompanied by over 60 British businesses and cultural organizations. The visit led to many key agreements and initiatives like relaxing travel rules and visa free travel to the UK for trips under 30 days. Moreover, AstraZeneca announced a $15 billion investment in China by 2030 to expand research and manufacturing. China also agreed to halve tariffs on Scotch whisky. This deal could generate 250 million euros for the British economy over the next 5 years. Agreements were also made to jointly direct action on disrupting migrant smuggling networks and combating opioid smuggling. Issues like allegations of Chinese spying, China's stance on the Ukraine war, and the crackdown on political freedom in Hong Kong have long strained the relations between UK and China. Starmer said that the engagement with China is imperative to Britain's national interest. Amid Starmer's visit, Trump reportedly warned it was very dangerous for the UK to do business with China. He did the same thing during Mark Carney's China visit, warning Canada of doing any deals with China. Meanwhile, Starmer himself said that Britain does not need to choose between relations with the Washington and Beijing. This visit comes as representatives of other US allies like South Korea, Canada, and Finland have also made visits to Beijing. Many countries are looking to diversify trade and investment partners because of global trade disruptions and unpredictable US policies under Trump. That's it for now. Thank you for watching.